Hello again. Well, it was certainly a rather chaotic start to the week this week after last Friday's cloud strike IT outage. Wow. Ireland's GP software is simply not working at all on Friday the 19th of July, so it's back to sort of pen and paper. Well, phone calls, face-to-face, with all that lot of sort of emphasis placed on sorting it all out later as the services sort of reappeared, which they did on Monday. Now, obviously, nothing stands still in life, and so expect a few hiccups these next few days, this week, in fact, but it hasn't been too bad. People have been very, very understanding. We do try our very best to serve our patients as best we can, regardless of the tools we're given and the means afforded to us, but it can be a bit vexatious, shall we say. In those olden days, of course, pre-booked appointments, most GP surgeries had opening surgery hours that were a sort of flexible time slot wherein it was first come and first served. You just arrived, sat down and waited. If you were too unwell to attend, a home visit could be arranged. Paper file records, admin sheets detailing all and everything, often though in brief format. Given the time to scribe is limited, as might be your powers of recall for actual details. Taking yourself off to A&E or indeed calling an ambulance in those days was hardly routine. It really was unusual. Sort of starting out in the island as a GP many years ago now, we were on duty for the town occasionally, i.e. Douglas, or the original Jane Crookall, or both. One Christmas Day, pre-mobile phones being available, I actually completed 25 home visits for all things from childbirth, convulsions, acute abdomens and chesty coughs to very hot babies. So computers have changed much of how this works, along with the arrival of teams of other specialist colleagues such as paramedics, very experienced nursing staff and many, many others. So as the systems crashed around us this week, I thought, oh well, it's back to basics. We just have to get on with it, and that's just what we did. I'm sure it's all going to be fine, but this week I've also been feeling a few requests, oddly, for people who want sleeping tablets. Now, in years gone by, these little tablets, capsules or elixirs were seen as an almost inevitable part of prescribing, although doctors were never actually that keen, but sometimes slightly faced with a pleasant enough soul who had or has been taking prescribed sleeping medication for occasionally for years on and off. It's just so easy to roll over and just reissue. Well, as we all lumber into ancientness, if we are so spared, these Mother's Little Helpers can take on a different aura. Mother's Little Helpers, of course, referring to that mid-60s Rolling Stones tune, it was Valium or diazepam they were referring to, of course. Initially thought to be an almost wonder drug to deal with anxiety of any sort, of any type, of any age, things slowly became more obvious as the clouds cleared with regard to its very, very addictive properties. And as with other things, other medications in that quite large group of so-called benzodiazepines, they all came under the microscope for very, very obvious reasons. Diazepam just being one of several. If you refer to a landmark BMJ, British Medical Journal paper, though, from the early 2000s, it sort of spells it out rather nicely. It sort of illustrates the usefulness, as well as the emperor's clothes of unfettered sleeping pill prescription issues. Here it goes then. So if you had 100 people aged over 60 who would be taking a sleeping pill of whatever denomination for more than a week or so, 7 will sleep better with an average extra 25 minutes per night. 76 will find no difference after a few days. Remember, it's not the one-off nights, it's the ticking thing that we're taking every night for several weeks sometimes. 17 will have some side effects, issues with recall, memory, morning, drowsiness, even things like affecting a balance. 1 in 17, though, of these 17, it will be significant. A significant fall or a car accident even, lack of judgment or concentration. So you can see our modern day sort of look at this symptom will not immediately find us reaching for our prescription software tapping. Not prescription pads anymore, tapping out a script, of course. For a few weeks of sleepers, we just not be likely to do that. No, there's lots of alternative ways to dealing with this common item, and some has yet to be discovered, of course. Good old sleep hygiene comes to the fore at this point. Having said that, a very short, small number, occasional use sleeping pill issue, in the main, is something most doctors are actually quite comfortable with. It's the repeated request, no questions asked scenario most are not so comfortable with. As peering at the BMJ article, you can see why. So until next week, sleep tight.